So here are the headlines. On our local news this morning, lawyers give updates on Nnamdi Kanu's 5 billion withhold list of terror financials. On our political news this morning, Alhambra gubernatorial election, INEC releases final list of governorship candidates. And on 2023, PDP NEC approves zoning of national chairman to North. On our business news this morning, federal government to unveil 2022 budget details today. On our sport news this morning, Roll names 2 players. Super Eagles missed 1-0 defeat to Central African Republic. On our health news this morning, COVID-19 fully vaccinated Nigerians travelers no longer required to self-isolate on arrival in United Kingdom. On our foreign news this morning, Donald Trump drops off Forbes 400 richest Americans. Entertainment news, Nigerian soldier assaults Nollywood veteran Chiwetalu Agu over Biafra clothing. So full details coming up next. On our local news this morning, lawyers gives update on Nnamdi Kanu's 5 billion naira suit against federal government. The fundamental rights suit filed by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu left out the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra. IPOB at the Abia State High Court could not hold today. The counsel to Kanu, Aloy Ejimako, disclosed this in a press release he personally signed and forwarded. Ejimako said that the case is yet to be registered today, that all parties and he notified of the next hearing date once the case is assigned to a court. According to him, a fundamental human right proceeding is sui generis. In other words, it is to be treated as special and expected to be concluded quickly, especially in situations where the applicant is incarcerated. He said, today's outcome is a disappointment. It is my hope that going forward, there won't be any future delay in hearing the case. Ejimako had on August 27, 2021, filed the case demanding that the federal government return the secessionist to Kenya, where he was abducted from. He also demanded 5 billion naira from the government over alleged gross violation of Kanu's fundamental rights. Recall that the last hearing of this matter on September 21, 2022, the vacation judge had made a ruling transferring the case to the chief judge of Abia State High Court for assignment. The reason was that the Abia Court's vacation was due to end on September 30, and according to the judge, there was not enough time for the vacation court to conclude the case within the vacation period. The case was therefore adjourned to October 7, 2021, today, for assignment to a judge that will hear it under the regular court calendar. Bandits massacre 18 Nigerians in Zamfara as federal government withholds list of terror finances. Bandits in Zamfara state are still wreaking havoc despite the ongoing Nigerian military large-scale operation. The people of the state are enduring the shutdown of network services the federal government ordered over a month ago. The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) issued the directive targeted at blocking criminals from communicating and receiving arms and ammunition. In the latest attack, at least 18 villagers were murdered by scores of the marauders. The bandits invaded Kuria Madaru, a ward in Kanu, in Kaura Namuda local government area, with motorcycles. Houses, shops, as well as 15 vehicles, including a police petrol van, were set on fire. The victims have been buried, gathered that the military is re-strategizing to forestall further successful enemy attacks. Yet the Nigerian government is insisting that the names of terror financiers will not be made public. In his reaction, Bishop Matthew Azan Kuka, head of Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, dared President Muhammadu Buhari, the federal government has told us it is not ready to publicize the names of those funding Boko Haram. We cannot go on like this. Questioning existential threat to humanity is the apostolate that we priests are called to. We know that this road is dangerous, it is rocky, it is treacherous. It takes life, but it is all too familiar. The bodies and the emotions of men and women were irreversibly broken. Our people fleeing their homes after over 10 years have now turned refugee camps into their habitat. Our identity as citizens has been traded for the status of migrants and refugees, the Reverend Cleric lamented. On our political news this morning, Anambra gubernatorial election, INEC releases final list of governorship candidates. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has published the final list of candidates running for the gubernatorial election in Anambra State. Mr. Valentine Ozigbo's name was published alongside his running mate, Mrs. Azuka Enemu, a gubernatorial candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. And also in the 18th candidate list published on Thursday were Professor Chukwuma Soludo of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, and Senator Andy Uba of the All Progressive Congress, APC. The list signed by Mr. Festus Okoye, National Commission in charge of INEC's Information and Voters Education Committee, also adds Senator Ifeanyi Uba as the candidate of Young Progressive Party, YPP, while Dr. Obiora Okonkwo, who filed the flag of Zenith Labour Party, ZLP. Others were Obiora Agbamisalo, Labour Party, Dr. Godwin Maduka, Accords Party, Bennett Etiaba, AA, Chidozie Nwako, AAC, Akachukwu Nwakpo, ADC, Afam Ume Ezeoku, AAC, Akachukwu Nwakpo, ADC, Geoffrey Onyejebu, APM, Philip Echetebu, APP, Okeke Chika Jerry, BOOT Party. Leonard Oyakujo will contest on the platform of NNPP, Afam Ezenwo for NRRM, and Nnamdi Nwahuwo for PRP, and Obina Uzo for SDP. In a reaction, Ozigbo told NAN that the election was winnable for him as the PDP had the brightest chance amongst all the parties in this contest, going by the vigorous campaigns he had run and feedback received. According to him, in spite of the handful of defections, we retain the comparative advantage of the grassroots. Our team is more resolute because we know the hope of Anambra people lies on us. We are going to spare nothing to ensure we get it right at the grassroots, and with this election, there will be a better story to tell at the end, Ozigbo said. Regarding to the 2023 election, PDP NCE approves zoning of national chairman to North. The National Working Committee NEC of the People's Democratic Party PDP on Thursday approved the zoning of the party's next national chairman to the northern part of the country. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Kola Ogbodinyo, disclosed this while addressing newsmen on the outcome of the NEC held in Abuja. Ogbodinyo said that the NEC considered and adopted Governor Ifeanyi Umuanyi-led zoning committee's report ahead of the party's national convention scheduled for October 30. The committee had recommended that the current electoral National Working Committee NWC positions in the party should be swapped between the North and the South. Ologbodinyo, however, clarified that what was approved was not about the executive and legislative positions in the 2023 general elections, but the elective NWC positions for the forthcoming convention. Asked if the date of the national convention was still sacrosanct, Ologbodinyo said there was no contrary decision regarding the date of the convention during the meeting. So far, nothing has been said after it altered the date of the convention, which is October 30, Ologbodinyo said. Speaking on when the aspirant was still obtaining forms, Ologbodinyo said what was adopted and the recommendation of zoning between the North and the South. He said that was expected for the regions to go and microzone the positions to the geopolitical zones, after which aspirants can start obtaining forms. Ologbodinyo, however, said that the report of Governor Bala Muhammad Committee on PDP Performance is the last general election will be considered in another meeting of the NCE. On our business news this morning, federal government to unveil 2022 budget details today. The federal government will on Friday today publish the estimate in the 2022 appropriation bill laid before a joint section in the National Assembly of the President, Major General Muhammad Buhari, retired on Thursday. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, will do the unveiling of the details which were conspicuously missing in the 16.39 trillion naira budget presentation speech delivered by the President. The Director General of the Budget Office of the Federation, Ben Akabueze, who made this note monitored by a correspondent on Thursday night, also disclosed some details in the budget. Akabueze, who confirmed that it is the biggest budget to ever be presented by the federal government, also said it was way lower than it should be. He added the problem of Nigeria, I am talking about the government now, is not that we are spending too much money, it is that we are actually spending too little. He noted that there is a global measure called the Public Expenditure GDP ratio. He said for Nigeria, the ratio was to 12% and the average for Africa was 22%. While there were countries on the continent with over 30%, with developed countries having up to 40%. Akabweze, while justifying the borrowing spree by the regime, noted that the average revenue GDP in Africa was 20%, while Nigeria was between 8 and 9%. Imagine if we did not run deficit budget and have to spend only the revenue. It means we spend maybe 8 to 9% of our GDP. So it should bridge the gap to get the ratio to a certain level, a minimum. That is why we need to borrow, he said. According to him, by International Monetary Fund standard, Nigeria needs at least 15% revenue GDP ratio to approach fiscal viability, and we are just barely up to 50% of that. On our sport news this morning, Rowe names 2 players. Super Eagles missed an 1-0 defeat to Central African Republic. Head coach of the Super Eagles, Gernot Rohr, has claimed the team missed the duo of Alex Iwobi and Wilfred Ndidi as they lost 1-0 to Central African Republic in a 2022 World Cup qualifier on Thursday. Despite dominating play against the Wild Beast, Nigerians suffered a shock at Teslim Balogun Stadium. Kalam Naguda's 90th minute effort proved to be the winner as CAR claimed their first point of the series. The players are still disappointed in the dressing room and still does not understand why we could lose this match. And when we analyzed the possession of the ball, we had several opportunities to score, but we did not score. And even often in every football, there was a counter and our opponent scored. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. We lost. We had the opportunity to score, but we couldn't. We have to recover and we have to make some changes in the team. We missed the creativity of Iwobi. We also missed Ndidi so much. It was not easy for Frank Onyeka and the first-time Taiwo Awoniyi to come in this team, Rowe told Go. On our health news this morning, COVID-19 fully vaccinated Nigerians travelers no longer require self-isolate on arrival in UK. The United Kingdom says fully vaccinated Nigerians travelers arriving in the United Kingdom would no longer need to self-isolate from Monday, October 11. According to the UK, the approved vaccines are AstraZeneca, Pfizer-BioNTech, Moderna, and Janssen. Added that the traveler must have had a complete course of any of the vaccines at least 14 days before the arrival in the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom government disclosed this in a new policy statement released on Thursday. According to the statement published in the UK's official website, fully vaccinated Nigerians will also need to take a pre-departure test as previously required from effect from Monday, October 11. This update is coming days after the UK said it had moved Nigeria from the amber list to the green list, which made it mandatory for Nigerian travelers, irrespective of their vaccination status, to undergo COVID-19 tests and quarantine on arrival in the UK. The information as published on the website said Nigeria will be added to the list of countries and territories which approved proof of vaccination 4 a.m. Monday, 11 October. If you arrive in England before that date, you must follow the rules of people who are not fully vaccinated. If you arrive after that, you can use a vaccine certificate to prove your vacation status. The site added that fully vaccinated Nigerians traveling to England do not need to be quarantined any longer. On our foreign news this morning, Donald Trump drops off Forbes 400 richest Americans. A former U.S. President, Donald Trump, was not included in the annual Forbes 400 ranking of the wealthiest African Americans. Forbes said Trump is now worth as an estimated $2.5 billion, leaving him $400 million short of the cutoff to make this year's 400 list. This is contained in a message on Forbes' verified Instagram page on Tuesday night. Forbes said the real estate mogul is just as wealthy as he was years ago, when he stood at number 339 at the ranking, but is down $600 million since the start of the pandemic. It reported that technology stocks, cryptocurrencies, and other assets have thrived in the COVID era. But big city properties, which make up the work of Trump's fortune, had languished, knocking the former president out of the nation's most exclusive club. The market will swing and stunning rise since the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic had many millennials and avid investors, and nobody has benefited more from their obsessions with meme stocks and cryptomania than a few of their young peers, it reported. In all, 15 members of the Forbes 400 are under 40, up from 12 in 2020, with 6 of them appearing on the list for the first time. The 15 include 29-year-old Sam, who has amassed an astonishing $22.5 billion via his FTX, the cryptocurrency exchange. Rival exchange at $111.5 billion, and Fred Elsman, 33, at $3.5 billion. Rohin Market's 37-year-old co-founder, Bahiju Bhatt, at $2.9 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, 37, by far the wealthiest man in this group, with a $134.5 billion fortune. Forbes is owned by Integrated Whale Media Investments and the Forbes family, and it features original articles on finance, industry, investing, and marketing topics. It's also related on subjects such as technology, communications, science, politics, and law. On entertainment news this morning, Nigerian soldiers assault Nollywood veteran actor Chiewelu Agu over Biafra clothing. Nollywood veteran actor Chiwetalu Agu was molested by Nigerian army troops for wearing Biafra clothing. The movie legend was working within the Upper Iweka Bridge in Anambra when the incident occurred. 2 soldiers suddenly accosted, rescued Agu to the ground, and dragged him. Agu was reportedly sharing food for the less privileged persons when government forced him to stop. Videos of the incident are trending amid wide condemnation of the military. Agu, a staunch Biafra agitator, has been a vocal critic of the Buhari administration. Brigadier General Onyema Okenamwakochukwu, the Director, Army Public Relations, did not take calls at a press time. And that will be that on our breakfast news. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Highlight of our breakfast news this morning. On our local news this morning, lawyers gave updates on Nnamdi Kanu's 5 billion naira suit against federal government. Bandits massacre 80 Nigerians in Zamfara as federal government withhold list of terror financiers. Political news this morning, Anambra gubernatorial election. INEC releases final list of governorship candidates. On 2023 elections, PDP NEC approves zoning of national chairman to North. On our business news this morning, federal government to unveil 2022 budget details today. And our sport news this morning, Rome names 2 players. Super Eagles miss 1-0 to defeat Central African Republic. On our health news this morning, COVID-19 fully vaccinated Nigerian travelers no longer require self-isolation on arrival in the United Kingdom. On our foreign news this morning, Donald Trump drums off Forbes 400 richest Americans. On our entertainment news this morning, Nigerian soldier assaults Nollywood veteran actor Chiwetalu Agu over Biafra clothing. And that will be that on our breakfast news this morning. Thanks for watching. I want you to continue to subscribe on our YouTube channel, AYOGEN Online Television. Follow us and like us on Facebook and Instagram respectively. Do have a great day. I remain your host, Makonjola Luatos Nesta. Bye.